In the heart of Georgetown, a cozy coffee shop, known for its aromatic brews and warm ambience, unsuspectingly transformed into a scene of dread. What was meant to be a place of solace became a backdrop for a chilling tale. An ordinary day shattered by a harrowing robbery that left lives forever altered. Join us here at Crime Scene Archives as we delve into the mystery behind the coffee shop's unexpected descent from tranquility to tragedy, where the pursuit of justice unveils a web of secrets and unspeakable truth. In the scorching summer of July 1997, the heart of the nation's capital was gripped by a chilling triple murder that sent shockwaves through the community. The Metro DC police found themselves plunged into a perplexing case with no immediate suspects and a motive shrouded in mystery. As the gravity of the situation unfolded, the local authorities turned to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, hoping the Bureau's renowned technical prowess could unravel the truth behind the gruesome triple homicide. The stage was a quaint Georgetown coffee shop nestled in the heart of Washington, D.C., where the lives of three unsuspecting employees were abruptly extinguished by a barrage of gunfire. The crime scene was a labyrinth of conflicting clues, leaving investigators to grapple with the enigma before them. Was this a hate crime fueled by prejudice, a bungled robbery, or a meticulously planned act of ruthless vengeance targeting one of the victims? As the nation celebrated Independence Day over a three-day weekend, Washington, D.C.'s landmarks echoed with the joyous revelry of thousands of visitors. However, by the morning of July 7th, the festivities had concluded, and the residents of Georgetown were awakened to the harsh reality of the work week. At 5:15 a.m., the day shift supervisor arrived at the coffee shop, expecting to prepare for the morning rush. To her bewilderment, the night manager's car was still parked outside, defying the expected closure at 8 p.m. the previous night. Inside the shop betrayed an eerie normalcy. Lights on, music playing, and fresh pastries waiting behind the counter. Yet, the absence of any presence and a lack of proper cleaning hinted at something amiss. Looking for Katie, the supervisor's calls echoed through the empty space as she ventured toward the back room, hoping for an explanation. Her search led her to a grisly discovery: the lifeless bodies of the night crew. Terrified, she fled the scene, flagging down the first bus and alerting the police. As dawn broke, the DC Metropolitan Police descended upon the coffee shop, sealing off the crime scene and initiating the meticulous process of investigation. The victims, 24-year-old night manager Katie Mahoney, 18-year-old Aaron David Goodrich, and 25-year-old Emery Allen Evans, had fallen prey to multiple gunshots during what seemed like a routine cleanup after closing. Detective James Trainham of the Metropolitan Police perceived an unsettling brutality that hinted at a personal vendetta. The scene suggested a violent escalation, a boyfriend entering, exploding in a barrage of gunfire, and then targeting the others attempting to intervene. The crime scene yielded 6 spent casings and 4 slugs from a .380 semi-automatic, along with a .38 revolver slug lodged in the ceiling above the safe. This unsettling arsenal hinted at the involvement of at least 2 gunmen, prompting Detective Trainham to consider the possibility of a robbery gone awry. As we delved into the evidence, the presence of 2 guns and the warning shot into the ceiling made us lean towards a commercial robbery. However, the absence of stolen cash and the untouched safe raised more questions. The receipt indicating a coffee purchased 40 minutes after closing suggested the victims were alive, complicating the narrative. Trainham concluded unraveling the layers of a crime that transcended the boundaries of a mere local incident. Detectives meticulously pieced together the timeline of the night, relying on witness accounts and the haunting silence of the crime scene. A witness who stopped by the coffee shop around 9:15 the previous evening saw two male employees engaged in cleaning duties, but with the door locked, he assumed the establishment was closed. Moments later, around 9:30, other potential customers found the door unlocked. They entered, observed the ongoing cleanup, but encountered no one. Suspicions arose, prompting them to leave. Based on this information, investigators estimated the murders occurred between 9:15 and 9:30. Yet the day shift manager contradicted this narrative, stating that both the front and back doors were locked when she arrived in the morning. She asserted that the back door could only be locked with a key, raising the possibility of an inside job. The manager hinted at a recently fired ex-employee with a drug habit and access to sensitive areas. This ex-employee, terminated for a theft-related incident under Katie Mahoney's watch, had reached a payback agreement with the company. However, the police found no conclusive evidence linking him to the crime after interviewing him at his Georgetown residence. The autopsy, a grim revelation of the brutality, disclosed that Katie Mahoney suffered 5 gunshot wounds. Emery Allen Evans injured 3, and Aaron David Goodrich was fatally shot once, the bullet piercing both lungs and his heart. 2 distinct weapons had been used, intensifying the sinister nature of the killings. The public, gripped by the unsolved murders, witnessed the coffee shop owners offer a $50,000 reward for information leading to the perpetrators. Speculations varied from a potential hate crime against minority victims to theories involving Katie's past internship at the White House. The possibility that one of the victims was an accomplice who was double-crossed added another layer of complexity. To bring focus to the investigation, Detective Trainham enlisted the expertise of his friend from the FBI Washington Field Office, Special Agent Brad Garrett. Agent Garrett, known for his proficiency in crime scene analysis and offender characteristics, became a valuable asset in unraveling the perplexing case. Returning to the crime scene, investigators noted the absence of security cameras and an untouched alarm system on the night of the crime. The front lock showed no signs of tampering, suggesting the killers might have used a key or had access after the murders. Drawing from the available information, investigators reconstructed the sequence of events. The crew, engaged in post-closing cleanup just after 9:15, faced an unexpected intrusion by the killers. The gunmen likely herded them into the back room, closer to the safe, where the situation spiraled out of control. The bullet hole in the ceiling, seemingly a warning shot, heightened panic and tragedy. Concluding that robbery, not murder, was the initial intention, investigators speculated that the perpetrators had a history of such crimes and posed a potential threat for future incidents. The chilling saga of the Georgetown coffee shop triple murders continued, entwining a community in fear and a mystery shrouded in darkness. Despite the lack of substantial clues to the killers' identities, investigators remained optimistic that a crucial detail might be hidden within the coffee shop. A breakthrough emerged as the detectives stumbled upon Katie Mahoney's to-do list behind the counter. Nearly completed the night she was killed, the list revealed an unchecked item: an apology to an employee. Katie had reprimanded the employee for a less than professional appearance a few days before her death. He explained that she was sensitive and might have felt concerned that she'd been too harsh with him, but it didn't feel that way. Investigators confirmed his alibi. He was with friends during the murders. A dead end. Detective Trainham delved into store procedures and policies, uncovering that someone else had been at the store at 2 a.m. We found out that the pastry guy comes with his delivery. When he arrived there that morning, he just assumed that the door was locked. Using his key, pushed the carts and closed and locked it behind. And that's how come when the shift manager got there, all the doors were locked. The pastry delivery clarified why the front door was locked, but failed to unveil how the killers gained entry. 3 days after the triple homicide, investigators remained bereft of leads to the killers' identities. The perpetrators loomed at large. The reward for information, initially set at $50,000, swelled to $100,000, marking the largest in DC history. The substantial reward, while attracting numerous false claims, yielded no breakthroughs. Special Agent Brad Garrett acknowledged the complexity of the investigation, juggling background checks on victims, disgruntled employees, and potential robbery groups. Yet despite their multifaceted approach, 2.5 months passed without a single lead. Then, on September 27, 1997, a pivotal anonymous call reached Metropolitan Homicide detectives. The informant claimed 2 individuals were involved in the shooting. One, named Carl, remained elusive regarding his last name but was described as a thin, mid-20s individual with brown skin. The caller detailed Carl's residence on Gallatin Street, living with his mother, wife, and child, driving a car of a different shade of blue. The man pledged to call back with additional information. Cross-referencing DMV records, investigators compiled a list of cars on Gallatin Street, discovering one registered to a man named Carl Cooper. The car matched the described blue color. A criminal background check unearthed Carl Cooper's alarming history of commercial armed robbery and suspected murder. In January 1989, Cooper and an associate had robbed 2 convenience stores at gunpoint in Prince George County, Maryland. Although Cooper was a prime suspect in his associate's subsequent murder, police lacked sufficient evidence to prove his guilt. Carl Cooper, now 28, with a criminal record that dovetailed with the anonymous caller's statement, emerged as the prime suspect in the Georgetown coffee shop triple homicide. The investigators now faced the crucial task of delving deeper into Carl Cooper's background to unravel the truth. Special Agent Brad Garrett, recognizing the need for a deeper understanding of Carl Cooper's interactions, obtained a warrant for a trap and trace on Cooper's home phone. This surveillance tool allowed agents to monitor incoming and outgoing calls, providing crucial information about Cooper's contacts without eavesdropping on the conversations. A local barber emerged as a frequent caller to Cooper's home, drawing suspicions that he might be Cooper's accomplice in the coffee shop murders. To gather more intelligence, undercover agents disguised as telephone repairmen initiated a discreet surveillance operation on Cooper's residence. A poll camera discreetly recorded 24/7 footage of individuals entering and leaving the house, aiding in uncovering Cooper's routines and associations. Simultaneously, teams of agents trailed Cooper throughout the city, particularly focusing on his visits to the barber shop where the suspected accomplice worked. The objective was to confirm the barber's involvement in the coffee shop killings, with hopes that a trap and trace on his phone would yield more insights. At this point, we're just trying to figure out who this guy in the barber shop is and what his relationship with Carl, and had he committed robberies with Carl. A background check on the barber revealed a history of armed robbery convictions, suggesting a potential link to Cooper's criminal activities. A trap and trace on the barber's phone unveiled a significant connection when investigators recognized a name among his callers. The woman identified herself as the former girlfriend of a robbery partner allegedly killed by Cooper years earlier. She said that Cooper, the barber, and her boyfriend at the time were all friends before her boyfriend was killed. Now she only kept in touch with the barber since she believed Cooper was responsible for her boyfriend's death. Cooper's wife, Melissa, played a significant role in their criminal and divorce, purchasing weapons illegally for him. Using her maiden name and an old address on her driver's license, she ensured a discreet trail. Melissa willingly cooperated with authorities, driven by a desire for closure in her husband's case. She provided additional background on Carl Cooper and his associates, shedding light on a third person involved in their summer 1997 crime spree. This third associate, a small-time crack dealer, became the focus of surveillance, with plans to use his criminal activities to coerce information about Cooper. However, the delicate balance required time to establish trust and gather enough evidence for a substantial drug trafficking charge. Rushing the arrest could compromise the leverage needed for cooperation. Despite these developments, investigators lack concrete evidence to arrest Carl Cooper for the Georgetown coffee shop triple homicide. As time passed, Cooper fortified himself with associates, making it increasingly challenging to approach him. By the end of July 1998, over a year had elapsed since the tragic day when 3 employees were ruthlessly shot to death in the heart of Georgetown, leaving the case in a tense and unresolved state. The FBI and DC Metro Police were convinced that 29-year-old Carl Cooper, along with at least one accomplice, was behind the coffee shop triple homicide. Yet the absence of direct proof kept investigators on a relentless pursuit, employing various tactics such as call tracing, house surveillance, and monitoring Cooper's associates. However, Cooper, astute to the investigative gaze, was aware that law enforcement was scrutinizing him. FBI Special Agent Brad Garrett acknowledged he knew in fairly short order that the police and the FBI were taking a look at him. In addition to the federal investigation, Cooper faced scrutiny from Prince George's County, Maryland, where Sergeant Joseph McCann was investigating him for the attempted murder of a police officer. A crucial breakthrough came through a female informant incarcerated for armed robbery who had collaborated with Cooper in criminal and divorce. Though lacking direct knowledge of the coffee shop murders, she provided intricate details about a pizzeria robbery and an accident where Cooper discharged his weapon. The informant disclosed that during the pizzeria heist, Cooper wielded 2 guns, with a designated role to shoot non-compliant individuals. In another robbery, armed with a 9mm and a stolen .38 revolver, Cooper fired his weapon while robbing couples in a park. Shockingly, the informant revealed that Cooper had shared information about shooting an off-duty police officer during one of the robberies. FBI Special Agent Brad Garrett acknowledged the informant's remarkable level of detail, presenting a valuable opportunity to build a case against Cooper. These revelations painted a portrait of Cooper not merely as a violent criminal, but as the leader of a criminal organization engaged in interstate robberies. With the goal of constructing a racketeering RICO case against Cooper's organization, FBI sought to gather additional evidence. They obtained a warrant to wiretap Cooper's phone, allowing them to capture both conversations and phone numbers. Additionally, they cloned Cooper's pager number, providing a means to monitor incoming pager messages. Employing a ruse to extract information, investigators visited the address provided by Cooper's wife to the gun shop for the purchase of the 9mm handgun. This address, claimed to be her mother's, was questioned by investigators, who, under the guise of a routine serial number check, approached the mother. Despite her insistence that she hadn't spoke to her daughter recently, investigators doubted her honesty. During this emotional conversation, she mentioned checking the hiding place in the house and not finding the gun, implying that Carl might have it. When she threatened to involve the police, Carl vehemently instructed her not to. Subsequently, investigators went to Cooper's wife's residence, where they knew both she and Carl were present. However, no one responded to their knocks on the door. After almost 14 months of pursuit, investigators felt they were closing in on the suspected murderer. However, Carl Cooper proved elusive, demonstrating awareness of the mounting pressure from law enforcement. In September 1998, surveillance and intercepted conversations began yielding incriminating information from Cooper's wife and associates. The case against Carl Cooper, the alleged mastermind behind an armed gang involved in the Georgetown coffee shop triple homicide, was taking shape. Detective James Trainham overheard a conversation between Cooper's wife and the girlfriend of one of Cooper's alleged accomplices, providing hints of intimate knowledge about the crimes, including the triple homicide. Intensifying the pressure, investigators caught Cooper's wife off guard at her workplace, confronting her about the 9mm handgun. Her nervous reaction prompted an eventual admission that the gun was stored in Maryland. She agreed to turn it over later that evening at her grandfather's home. As the appointed time approached, FBI agents observed Carl Cooper removing what appeared to be a gun case from his house. The investigation reached a critical juncture, with law enforcement determined to gather the necessary evidence to bring Carl Cooper to justice. The elusive suspect was inching closer to being held accountable for the heinous triple homicide in the Georgetown coffee shop. Under questioning, the barber disclosed that Cooper had indeed contacted him on the night before the planned robbery, inviting him to join. However, since Cooper never followed up, the barber assumed that Cooper had carried out the crime solo. While the certainty of whether Cooper acted alone or had an accomplice remained elusive, this revelation provided investigators with a clearer understanding of the dynamics and the potential involvement of Cooper in the coffee shop homicides. Though the investigation had not conclusively determined whether Cooper had an accomplice, the gathered information was adequate to charge the barbershop individual with potential involvement in the planned robbery. As the investigative efforts pressed on, the focus shifted towards building a more robust case against Cooper and his associates. The overarching goal was to assemble enough evidence to bring them to justice for the crimes they were suspected of committing. The complex web of information and leads were gradually converging, and law enforcement remained determined to unveil the truth behind the Georgetown coffee shop triple homicide. As we contemplate the unsettling narratives of the Georgetown coffee shop tragedy, one haunting question lingers. What factors can turn spaces of comfort and passion into scenes of unspeakable crime? And what can we learn from these harrowing stories to prevent such tragedies in the future? Share your thoughts on the enigmatic intersection of everyday places and the darker facets of human behavior. In a chilling parallel, we also have the tale of Jared Loughner, whose passion for music took a sinister turn. Discover how the musical notes turn into the dissonance of destruction. Join us on Crime Scene Archives for more gripping narratives where truth is stranger than fiction. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your engagement is vital in exploring the complex tapestry of crime, revealing both the darkness and resilience within our society.